Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlanders or Bust. I see you down there, Wolfie. I see you through the gap. Mind the gap. But yeah, welcome back to Farlanders or Bust. Episode 500... Whoop, can't get out. Episode 523. I hear zombies. But that may be because they're in a cave or something near this crazy, wacky hidey hole with a porch, right, Wolfie? Woof, exactly right. Let's get Wolfie upright. Block off the hidey hole, perhaps in proper fashion. A very strange hidey hole, but yeah, that looks it's like a house. I should have made a door, but I didn't. Let's drop off some things that we don't need. Oh, I don't need the iron helmet. Maybe I'll leave that somewhere else. And yeah, continue on. Continue on here, like I said. In episode 523 on a Tuesday, October 27th, 2015. Boy, I sure hope that's the proper date, because that's what's in my notes, so that's what I'm gonna go with. But yeah, that's where we're at, and we are continuing west to those far lands here. And raising money for Child's Play charity. Farlandsorbust.com is where you want to go to do such things as those. Up to $7,408.42 raised for Child's Play charity this season alone, Season 6 of Farlanders or Bust. I do appreciate all the continued support for that. You know it toasts my little heart. I have a very tiny, tiny heart. It's a serious condition. Actually, I think that might be a condition people actually suffer from, so I'm not going to continue talking about that in a comical manner, because it's not very comical. All right, shut up, Kurt. Move on to the next topic. Stop sticking your foot in your mouth. So yeah, we're continuing on and continuing raising money for Child's Play charity. Farlandsorbust.com. Child'sPlayCharity.org is where you can learn more about the charity itself. Indeed, and right there on the homepage, I think, unless they've changed the homepage, but right there on the homepage should be a Farlanders or Bust logo under the Platinum sponsors, because we are Platinum sponsors to Child's Play charity, and that is all thanks to you guys, all the donations over the past 4 years, 4+ years that you have donated, over $350,000, and then some, and then some. So, yeah, good times. Okay, here we go. We did get a question in the donations from Torin Dogflight, who says, P.S. I'm not evil. Your name is evil, who says, I've often expressed concern about Wolfie spawning under ice. That happened once. Remember that? That was scary. When walking across frozen oceans. Wouldn't periodically putting down blocks of dirt while crossing the ice help encourage him to spawn above it? No. It apparently does not. Wolfie? Whoop, we're going the wrong way. Oh, there he is. Yeah, okay. Huh, that's weird. This is some interesting science that we're doing here. So, he didn't spawn when I was standing on the blocks, but he spawned when I walked away from them. That's curious. Yeah, I know, Wolfie. That's very curious. Huh. Alright, maybe. I mean, that looked like it worked. Perhaps in the future, if we get far enough away into an ice ocean, we'll have to check that out. But I do appreciate that little tip there. Further science must be conducted to assess its feasibility and safety. Torin Dogflight. Torin Dogflight. Also, any special plans for Halloween? No plans whatsoever. I don't even have... Here we go. No? Bupkis. Do you need more than one block? Do I need to be... Oh, I need to be on the same level. That's the problem. I probably jumped. Yeah, my feet need to be... That's it! That there is the science. My feet, the player's feet, have to be on the same level as the block that the wolf wants to spawn on. Which is why sometimes, if I were to drop to the bottom of the ocean, he'll spawn on the bottom of the ocean. Ha! Okay. So what I really should watch out for is if I'm coming to the edge of an ocean like this, not to drop down to that level, because then Wolfie could theoretically spawn at this same level, but it will be under the ice. And actually, I don't know what happened to Wolfie, so I'm not going to test that out there. Oh, see, that could have very well happened. Alright, I'm sure that was already a well-known game mechanic, but I'm kind of just discovering it for the first time after having this wolf for over 4 years right now. Huh. Alright, very interesting. So yeah, place a block, but not until I jump. Oh, thanks for proving me wrong. Yeah, not until I jump and get my feet at the same level as the block will Wolfie spawn. Duly noted. Duly noted indeed. But any special plans for Halloween? No. As I've mentioned before, I'm not huge on the Halloween stuff. I'm also... I don't know, the place I live in, there might be more kids around. At the place I previously lived, in Chicagoland, lived there for 5 years, never had a single trick-or-treater. Not a single trick-or-treater. There were kids that lived on the block, but perhaps new kids on the block, and that they never stopped by. I don't know what was up with that. Perhaps I frightened them. I didn't even, like, ever see any out or anything like that. Never a doorbell ring or nothing. I bought candy sometimes. Just ended up eating it myself. So, yeah. They're potentially maybe here. So I'll probably have to prepare for that. If it's not too weird, I have had friends into astronomy who say, oh, if it's a clear night, they'd set up their telescope out front. And, you know, they'll have the bowl of candy or whatever, and as the kids stop by, oh, you know, here's Saturn or whatever is up in the sky or something through the telescope would be kind of a neat thing. But I'm really not that great of a, like, public outreach educator, despite the many instances I talk about science and stuff and astronomy on YouTube. The real life stuff is a little bit weird, especially kids. I don't know how to act around kids, like, not inappropriately, but just kids are a foreign creature to me, and communicating with them is very difficult. Speaking of difficult communication problems that I have, I was gonna talk about this like in a vlog or something, but I don't make many of those. Because I'm uncomfortable talking during them and whatever, so I'll talk about it now. We're doing it live here in Farlanders Bust, and those pigs were dry. Let's try this pig. But yeah, I want to talk a bit about co-op stuff, multiplayer stuff, collaborations on the YouTubes, and how I do or don't do well with them, particularly. I have put out the survey for patrons. There will be one for normal viewers soon. A much shorter one, a little bit more to the point. But as part of that, I asked, okay, this was my... I'm trying to be very scientific and properly acquiring proper data. The first question I asked is how what do you think the current ratio on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10... What do you think the current ratio of single-player to multiplayer co-op videos going up on my channel are? So I try to get a baseline of what people think the current amount of single-player to co-op. And then the next question I ask, what is the level you would like to see on Kurt J. Max's channel on the same scale of single-player to multiplayer? You know, so people who perhaps like the current amount would just choose the same number. I just want the same number for what you're currently at. Or if you want more or less, you would choose a different result of how much multiplayer. Is that like a proper way? That might not be at all like what a normal statistics gathering person would ask it, but that's how I asked it. And I have found, certainly people don't want my channel to be 100% multiplayer dependent on co-op stuff or anything like that, but there does seem to be a wanton for slightly more. Like most people are choosing like 2 or 3 out of the 1 to 10, but they would prefer 4 or 5, or maybe 4. Actually, no, not more than half. They do. It seems like people do understand that I am primarily single player here, much more comfortable with the single player commentaries as you're listening to right now. So yeah, they say maybe it's like 2 or 3, but maybe 4 would be better. Maybe just a little bit more would be nice. And I'm trying, as you know, I'm making new friends and doing new things with the Rocket League crew, and we've got more stuff coming up. Recording something this weekend that's going to be a little bit out of bounds for me that I normally wouldn't do. I'm pushing my boundaries, as it were, and trying to do more stuff. As you also know, I'm doing the new co-op with Cone Dodger and Formula One and stuff. So I'm trying stuff, but still, I even notice things that I will tell you about in the morning here. And yeah, it's been a while, actually. Early on in the series, if you watch the early episodes, I did kind of get a little bit more, perhaps it was my lack of, I don't know, what's the word for it? Routine? It wasn't a job or anything. I was treating Farlanders Bus more like a vloggy, personal, talky journal type thing. So maybe a little bit of a return to that here in the morning. And awakeness. Those were some nice... Those were some nice mounds right there that we just passed over, if I can say so. Some nice rounded off, I like the kind of natural... All right, I'm going to shut up. So yeah, let's talk about the co-op stuff. I even mentioned this, I'm not sure if it was this episode or the next episode, today's episode, the race with Cone Dodger. When I'm editing, like, co-op stuff, the way I record, it splits up the game audio and, like, my Skype chat or whatever I'm recording with. So my friends' voice tracks, and then my voice track, my microphone, is a separate track. I notice, even if it's just a one-on-one collab, the other track has a lot more voice than mine does. I'm far more silent, shorter, not really long parts of dialogue on my end. So I do very much feel like I don't talk enough in my co-op stuff. I go into them feeling very excited and interested and happy to talk to these people. Even similarly, I had on Saturday, we had the very special episode of Rocket League go up where we played the Washington Capitalizers. Hasn't been doing that great on views as I thought it would. But that's beside the point. Yeah, but the maybe I should have put their names in the title is what the thing. The Capitalizers are B-double-O, our good friend B-double-O, Pungence, and Wolves at My Door. They make up their team, and the team I'm part of with Anasia and Lofty, and occasionally Fultron, the Clunch City Dream Crushers. We had a very fun and very exciting and surprisingly equally matched Rocket League match and video go up that I thought went really well. Even then, these are people I know. These are people I've done collabs with in the past, yet I still feel like some sort of subconscious switch gets turned on where I I retreat into myself or something, and that's not good. That's not good for business, speaking from it as a job standpoint, but it's also not good for I suppose maintaining those friendships and continuing encouraging more collabs and the perception on other people's videos and things. And it's really a tough noodle to cook, if I can retrieve an analogy that I made last episode. I'm not sure what. I mean, obviously, you all know that I'm a shy person. I'm introverted as well, so it's a crazy concoction of the two things. It's not, well, there's some social anxiety there, but I don't want to put that label on it because that's a separate spectrum entirely. There's different, that sort of stuff more happens to me on in-person interactions and things, I guess. The internet is a nice little safe barrier. But it's something I don't know. I need to find some tips and tricks or something to overcome that. Or do better with that. I mean, I even noticed that when I was used to doing Formula One with Beef, or when I was doing the Speedrunners game with the Speedrunners crew, that my voice track was very silent compared to the voice track of the person or persons I'm collaborating with. What's up with that? Have you noticed that? Is that impact? If I can do a very impromptu survey in the comments, does that impact your view of my collaborations videos. It doesn't seem to. Everybody seems to enjoy and leave good comments about the collabs, those videos that go up and stuff like that. But we can't repair things. No, there's no repairing in this version of the game, is there? Nope. I don't know why I even tried that. I'm distracting myself from this very uncomfortable and revealing conversation I'm having. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of, I'm like trying to find the root of it, and maybe that's the problem. I shouldn't do that. I should just try to overcome it and find a solution. But it almost feels, here's the thing. Here's the brass tacks. There is a real Kurt J. Mac, who doesn't go by Kurt J. Mac, who goes by Kurt. Real life me, that my family knows, and people personal to me know. And then there's YouTube Kurt J. Mac. There's Farlanders Bus Kurt J. Mac. I feel like, and I'm sorry to have broken your world asunder, that you thought that you were getting to know real Kurt J. Mac, when in fact, YouTube Kurt J. Mac talks far more. I talk more recording an episode of Farlanders Bus than I do the entirety of the rest of the week outside of recording videos, so keep that in mind. So yeah, I feel like there's those two, but then when other people get involved, like when I do start doing the collabs, real life Kurt J. Mac comes out. Maybe it's because I don't want to be false to these people who I perceive as like friends, as real people friends. Is that right? Are you being my therapist right now? Am I talking to you laying down? I suppose sometimes I do lay down on a bed and you're still up and barking. So yeah, maybe like real Kurt J. Mac is kind of, the border between the two is very fuzzy during those situations, and it's relationship George and independent George. Worlds are colliding. Oh, Seinfeld reference. So yeah, I don't know. I've got to think of some tips and tricks, and maybe it just takes getting more and more comfortable with the person. But even then, I haven't ever really noticed any collab in particular. I did 4 seasons of Formula 1 with Beef, and even on the last one that we never got around to finishing, I still noticed the vast difference in stuff. You know, Beef's voice track versus my voice track. I don't make the same jokes, I don't feel. I don't have the same verbosity. It is a little bit, I don't like talking over people, and a lot of the times over Skype. Even look at like the times I've been on the Mindcrack podcast or anything like that. I am fairly quiet. There was even a joke when we were in PAX Prime in Seattle and we recorded the live one. I like said 4 words, and that was the running gag, is that, oh, Kurt barely talks, but whenever he does, it's gold, Jerry. And sure enough, the few times I did talk, they were just my standard one-liner jokes or whatever. I really didn't have anything specific to. Hold on, I want to collapse this. I didn't have anything specific to. Oh, that was it? Whoa, those went down to the depths now, didn't they? To the depths! I need a boat. I do indeed need a boat. Need a couple boats. Let's do that. Let's make one more, why not? Alright. So yeah, that's just something that I don't want to say it's been like weighing on. Whoa, look at this place. I don't want to say it's been like weighing on me or ruining my day, but it's just been kind of something now that I am forcing myself and trying to do more interactions, collabs, making more friends on YouTube, expanding beyond those people that I already know, expanding beyond Mindcrack. It's just one of those things that is on my mind. It's going to be tough, I think, for you guys to provide too much insight. No offense, but it's because you just see the end product. You don't know the process. You don't know the before recording conversations and after interactions and how any differences there that I may not note. That's a precarious little perch. That's precariously perched right there, isn't it? Oh, this is less. This is less interesting than I thought it was, as it came into play here. So yeah, but that's just something that's been on my mind. It might just be practice. I just need to practice. Perhaps I should, instead of currently being at a 2 or 3 on the scale of multiplayer to single-player stuff, perhaps even though you guys said you might want 4 or 5, maybe I should ramp it up to 6 or 7, to really get in a lot of practice and things like that. And a lot of times, I suppose the thing people will say, specifically when I'm doing collaborations with smaller channels or smaller YouTubers, oh, well, whatever, you've been doing this for so long, you have 300 whatever thousand subscribers and this many videos up, you're the I suppose I don't like to hierarchy it like this, but you're the more experienced one. You should be fine with it. It's the other group that should be nervous. But that so far doesn't turn out to be the case. That's not why I'm like choosing who I'm doing collabs with or anything like that. But that's often not the case. I mean, even if I can if I can throw Cone Dodger under the bus, he's uploaded a vlog where he said, he's been a fan of Farlanders and Busts. Hi, Cone Dodger. I know you listen to this to make the recaps on the Mindcrack subreddit. Sorry! He's made a vlog. He's already made it public, where he said, he's been a fan of Farlanders and Busts since the beginning. And, he was really nervous when I messaged him to be like, yeah, you want to do Formula 1 or whatever? And he didn't, he didn't know how to react, but I think he's better at bringing YouTube Cone Dodger forward than I am, if you know what I mean, because I'm pretty sure there's probably a real-life Cone Dodger and a YouTube Cone Dodger, and I think he's even said so himself that he turns on the razzle-dazzle a little bit more when he's recording YouTube. But it's a little bit more of an arm wrestle for me, I guess. I don't know. Or perhaps it's completely imperceptible from the viewer standpoint, and I shouldn't even be having this conversation or worrying about it or anything. But that's just something I've thought about, because there are going to be more collaborations. I'm even, talking to new people and other stuff to try to get more wheels turning in that general direction. I do think that's kind of the thing to really fall back on and but to look for in these strange and changing times of the YouTubes of the gaming video production situation we're in, and we'll just have to keep on moving, right? Right, Wolfie? Keep on walking to the Farlands. Whatever that may be an analogy for, but let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. And a boatness. Whee! Spelunk. Let's go this way. Do you think we've crossed over the 0 point on the which axis was it? The x-axis? I think it was the x-axis. The north axis? Because we were way south, but then when we pressed F3, we were much less south. We were like only off by a few thousand, right? As opposed to like 46,000. So do you think we've crossed over? I do consciously try to drift to the right now, but I know that's kind of a problem before, was drifting to the left. See, then, I dropped down to that level, and Wolfie spawned at that level, a few blocks under the water. Science! So that'll be interesting if then I'm by the next time we press F3 after we raise the $60,000 for Season 6, I'm going to be too far north. Ow! Woof. So yes, enough about me. Let's answer some questions that you have for me. Oh, actually, I do want to follow up. Previous episode 522, we had a question from Travis about the alien megastructures, and I had not yet heard of specifically what he was referring to. Perhaps, not blaming him, but perhaps questions in the future about specific things, you might want to provide a link or, make sure I know what you're talking about. It's my fault for not looking it up beforehand. But actually, alien megastructures is actually something that's been in the news lately because Kepler, the Kepler Space Telescope, the telescope that is looking constantly at a very particular set of stars in the sky near Cygnus, the Swan, and that constellation, looking for planets, specifically for planets that transit the star that they are orbiting. That is to say, in their orbits, they pass in front of the star, and it looks for the brightness curve when a planet passes in front of the star, the total amount of light being emitted is reduced, and then when it passes away, it goes back up to normal. So basically, they've selected a specific amount of stars, and they're just constantly watching them, waiting for a planet or something to pass in front of them to watch that light curve dip. And they've identified thousands of planets. They can determine the size of the planet, the distance, based on how fast it orbits, because they know the size of the star and the mass of the star. It's very, very crazy, interesting stuff. Dozens of Earth-like potential planets within the habitable zones have been discovered of those stars. But there's one in particular that got press recently because that light curve that they saw on this star made no sense. It was totally wacky. You know, typically if a planet passes in front of the star, it's a pretty, I don't think linear is the correct word, but it's a predictable path that when the star or the planet passes that star, that it goes back to normal. And this was like weird, you're getting weird troughs, like double troughs. Sometimes they can even find out if a planet has a ring system, because there is kind of a little double. You get the ring lowering the light, and then the planet, and then the other side of the ring lowering the light. I don't know if that's happened with any exoplanets, but that is something you can determine. I mean, that's how they determined even Neptune had rings, was by watching as it transited a background star. I think one of the planets has rings that they determined that way. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, this weird, wacky light curve from this star made no sense. So the first, I don't know if the first, but one of the potential explanations that obviously got the press to the presses, to stop the presses, was the potential for alien megastructures. A Dyson sphere is what they call it. Specifically, a constellation of satellites, or even like a full ring. Think of Halo, that big halo around the planet. But you essentially, when a civilization, theoretically, when a civilization is advanced enough, they perhaps have depleted all of the resources on their home planet, or they have come to terms with the fact that doing so would mean the end of their civilization, so they look elsewhere for energy. So doing so, they create a Dyson sphere or constellation or whatever you want to call it, cluster, around their parent star to harvest energy more efficiently from their parent star, I think is the going theory there. So they were thinking that perhaps this strange light curve, this dimming of this star that we're watching through Kepler, is due to some irregular or in-progress build of a civilization's Dyson sphere, far more advanced than our own technology could do at the current time. And essentially, the theory goes is you pretty much have to dismantle and mine an entire other planet. So, like, we would have to dismantle Mercury, take all the resources out of that and make the solar panels from that. Completely just remove Mercury. It would take on the order of decades, obviously, to do, and insurmountable amounts of money. But in order to do that, so that's the going theory. That is a alien megastructure, and that has everybody abuzz. There was recently, I saw on Twitter when I actually started to look into this, somebody linked to a page, a theory that said there is a very natural potential cause for the light curves, and that is that the star is actually oblong. It's more egg-shaped, which we've seen before. Not all stars are squares, I guess, like in Minecraft, or spheres like our own star, due to their spinning, due to their many amounts of different reasons. Could be different shapes, and from those different spin rates or anything like that, from that means one side of the star, or one section of the star, is darker, just its own surface, darker than the other side of the star, which gives you an irregular light curve. Plus, add into that an actual transiting planet, gives you an even wackier light curve. And there's a whole paper and illustrations, and they recreate pretty much the light curve given from this star with their calculations and their simulations of a similar situation with a star that has a variably bright surface. And that makes sense. And their reasoning is still on the possibility that this could be caused by an alien megastructure, but it would be insanely and insurmountably improbable for the first probes we humans ever send up, that is to say the Kepler Space Telescope, that is intended to look for these light curves. It would be incredibly lucky for that telescope to find evidence for intelligent life and a Dyson sphere, which is simply a theory in and of itself. Like, just this is a thing that a civilization could possibly do. That would be just an incredibly specific and near hundreds of thousandths of a percentile of a chance impossible that this would have been discovered, even in the early stages of these discovery of these stars and planets orbiting the stars. It's already completely insurmountable that we even see the planets transit in front of the star as opposed to around it like this or anything like that. So that's their reasoning, and they say that these types of stars with variably bright surfaces might be a more feasible, a more possible explanation. So yeah, I say even if it is some sort of alien megastructure, there's no way we would ever be able to confirm that with our current technology, I don't think. So it almost sounds like you gotta have a closed mind, but you gotta keep an open mind for other possibilities instead of jumping, just like every time there is one of these Earth mass super Earths or whatever planets found around these stars, that gains all of the headlines. That is until they do the math again and realize, oh, actually that planet isn't actually there. It's actually this, that, or the other different type of whatever. So you gotta keep, as with science, you gotta remember to confirm things. And you got to remember that the media does tend to, obviously, they want you to click on their headline or whatever. So they might tend to over-exaggerate things for the sake of drama and views. But yeah, that was just. I was hoping to get other questions this episode actually too. But there we go. I've done right. I do apologize for missing the entirety of the story in the previous episode. But now I've gone back and done some of my homework, and there might even be, this is still very early in the release of this information. I bet you right now there are other scientists and physicists and astrophysicists contemplating, calculating, simulating even different, possibly more likely explanations for this unusual light curve from this star. And, it might be further reasons that make even more sense than the variable brightness of a star's surface. So far as I know, and I don't know, because I am no scientist. I am no scientist indeed. I am a mere Time Lord who digs holes in the ground to live for the night, which we are going to do here at the end here of episode 523 of Farlanders Bust. Let's shed some light on this situation, shall we? Whoop. Did I hear splashing? Or am I going insane? It's the most probable explanation. Oh, man. So, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you, everybody, once again, for your continued support for Child's Play charity at farlandersbust.com. Oh, I did hear splashing. Oh, it's probably the leaves of that tree decaying and dropping saplings into the water. That's what it is. That's the most likely explanation. So, yeah, thanks for your support for Child's Play charity at farlandersbust.com. Thanks for your support of my channel and my videos. Hopefully you take the time to check out some of my collaborative videos now that I've really undersold them to you. I'm really quiet and terrible at them. Please go watch them. And well, I'll figure that out. That's kind of a thing I should probably try to figure out on my own or something like that. But we will see, won't we? What else do I have to do here? Not much. I think I am all set for the next episode. And what was happening tomorrow? Oh yeah, YouTube Red is going live. So it was nice knowing you all. Oh man, just as I figure things out, everything falls down around us. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm just going to continue with business as usual, and we'll just go from there. And we'll go to the Farlands as we continue to do, and will do. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Yeah, okay. Huh, that's weird.